I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reyes Reflection podcast, the only podcast out there where you can get laughs, tears, and wisdom. And I mean D-U-M-B, not D-O-M. If you want to check me out more at I'm Nathanael Reyes on Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. Per usual, I got to talk about those folks that keep the lights on. ARAVE cards, Jocko, Fuel, SMACKIN sunflower seeds, and Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare. Links in my bio for exclusive deals to those sites. Now listen, every once in a while, I hear a guest story that stops me in my tracks. Not just because of the pain they've endured, but because of the purpose they've found through it. Today, I'm sitting down with the founder of SwiftSteps, a recovery community that blends connection, compassion, and a little bit of Taylor Swift. But let me tell you, this woman's journey didn't start on a clean slate. She grew up in the shadows of addiction, mental health struggles, and trauma. Even as she has tried to escape that dark cloud, addiction showed up in her life in unexpected ways. Food, shopping, substances, they've all became numbing agents. Her recovery wasn't some perfect upward slope. It was real. It was authentic. It included relapses. But ultimately, her fierce fight to find herself came out of the shadows and into the light. What she needed most wasn't another program. It was community, people, real, compassionate, no judgment. Sit with me in the dark kind of people. And from that, SwiftSteps was born. So if you're listening today, feeling like your story's too complicated, your past is too heavy, this episode is a reminder that there's beauty in the rebuilding, strength in the stumble, and healing in the world. Please join me in welcoming the ever-inspiring, always authentic, queen of connection, Mama Swiftie herself, Julianne Griffin. Welcome to the pod.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Who's that girl you were just talking about? She's amazing. That was incredible. Thank you. That's so kind. Thank you.
Are you speechless?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that means a lot to me. I pride myself on these intros. Oh,
that made and honestly, you're talking about like rebuilding and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm like fully like at the tail end of a divorce right now. And it's like all the things. And you saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, right. I am rebuilding. It's all going to be okay. Like you were reassuring me there. So thank you.
Of course, my friend. Now, how I got Julianne on the show was almost an accident. I want to just pull back the curtain and share with the audience. So I had another interview with another individual, and he brought her up that he discovered her platform on TikTok, and that's how he fell in love with her and her program. And as soon as I heard her story, he shared a little bit off camera. I was like, I got to get this woman on. So I figured out what I could to get her on, and she's here in the flesh. So I'm so glad that I'm sitting with her. Julianne, I want to be honest with you from the start, though, okay? I just got to level with you. This is what I got to do to build the trust with you, okay? Sure. I'm not a Swiftie, but I am a person that loves true, authentic stories, and that's why I had to get you on. Although there are some Swift songs that I'm okay with. I'm okay with her old stuff, you know, like Drew Looks at Me, all that fun stuff. You know that stuff, right?
Well, to be very honest, I became a Swiftie from 1989 forward, and a lot of the stuff I'm still rediscovering through our Saturday song sessions. Okay. So it's really cool to hear a lot of the songs like for the first time. And yeah, I hope that nobody comes for me for that. But I mean, I've been a Swiftie forever, but like 1989 and like love stories, like really where it came for me. That's where my love is. But yes, all the prior stuff to that. Yeah, I know that like a lot of people are like old school country Taylor stans.
Yeah, I would say that that's where I discovered her, you know, Enchanted. I had a high school girlfriend that was like, oh, that's my favorite song. So yeah, I definitely know her old school stuff, not so much her new school stuff. But if you have a good Swiftie song and you want to send it my way, please.
Okay. Yeah, we always say you don't have to be like a total Swiftie stan to be a member of the community. You just can't be a hater. Like we're not going to let you come in and talk shit. But anybody's welcome.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No talking shit. But you can go ahead and do what I did and say I got to level with you. I'm not a Swiftie, but that's okay.
That's right.
All are welcomed. Just no talking shit. Okay. Let's start with you now. Julianne, as I mentioned, you had a tough upbringing.
Did.
You've been through a lot. You had both parents that were addicted to heroin.
Hmm.
And that was something that you were exposed to very, very early. Talk to me about your childhood. Talk to me about some of the good moments, some of the bad moments. I know it's kind of a loaded question, but let me hear from you.
So, yes, I was exposed to a lot very young. And a lot of it is extremely normalized, right? And you don't realize how fucked up things were until like you go to therapy and you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, like whatever, whatever, whatever. And you really like pull back the curtains on all the things, maybe disorders that were in the family and all kinds of stuff. But for me, I really kind of always felt in my bones that it wasn't right. But like then you ask the question, you ask your parents or you say to them like, I don't think you're parenting me right. Like as a child, you're saying that to your parent who's not parenting you right, obviously,
Yep.
or maybe not obviously, but then, you know, they're like, well, who you're the kid, who are you to tell me that I'm not parenting right? And then and my mom was a child. My mom was 25 years old by the time she had 3 kids. Like I can't imagine that existence. She had me, she was pregnant with me at 19 and she was 20 and she was in this incredibly abusive relationship with my father who beat the shit out of her when she was pregnant with me, with my brother, with my sister. Like he was a raging alcoholic. Like the amount of fights that I've seen, the amount of times I've seen him hit her. Like actually my very first memory that I can tell you about um involves me crawling on the floor and picking up a pill. Like I was that young and giving it to my mom. And I told her about that. And she says, oh my God, I can't believe you remember that. If you would have taken that, you would have died. So that's my very first memory, right? And then my second memory after that is my father chasing my mother around the coffee table to hit her, and me knowing that I felt unsafe. And if I felt unsafe, I had to go get my infant brother to protect him. And I took him behind the TV because back then they were big units, like big
Yeah.
boxy things. And we were behind the TV. And I just knew, like, okay, this is wrong. I feel unsafe. I have my brother here with me. So if he was an infant, I was 2 years old. But these are like my earliest memories that I have for you.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
It is. It's traumatizing.
It is, absolutely. And then like, you know, you grow up and I grow up, my mom leaves my dad because she realizes like if I don't leave him, like one of us is going to end up being dead. Like we're not going to survive this. So she leaves him, but like they're always bouncing back and forth. Very typical of that kind of relationship. And you say like after I grew up, I would question my mom and she would get angry, and then you get gaslit as a child, but like gaslit wasn't a term then, right? So you're like, okay, well, I question my mom and she gets angry and she's mad at me, but I feel like I don't see other moms doing this, or this just doesn't feel right to me, or I see my mom trading food stamps for cash and I know that that's like not right, like illegal. Or I'm not saying anybody shouldn't do it. Just as a kid, I knew that that was like against the law. I saw my mom doing things that scared me, that made me
Hmm.
scared of like the police coming to take somebody away.
Yeah.
So there's just like always a lot of fear and always a lot of like anxiety about like, this doesn't feel right, but I'm being told that shut up, you're the kid, you don't know, do what I'm telling you. Don't question me. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't tell anybody my business, right? Like nothing leaves this house. Don't tell anybody outside anything. And then that keeps it all very insular. And like, you really just don't know. You can't really compare or talk to anybody about it to know if it's normal. So it's just like a lot of confusion. But the ACE scale is like, if you've ever taken the ACE question list, it's like a bunch of questions that are given to you. And each yes that you get, you're more likely to have substance use issues or end up incarcerated, things like that. So I'm a 10 out of 10 on the ACE scale. I had the sexual trauma. I have the mental health issues. I have people being taken from the home to be put into mental health facilities or jails or what have you. So I look at that and I'm like, damn, like yesterday I said to my friend, both my parents were heroin addicts, and my mom has told me that they were both high when they conceived me. What did they think I was going to turn out to be if they think I'm a lot? Because my mom's always like, you're a lot, you're a lot. I'm like, I'm you. Like, I'm you and then the man you're in love with. So I'm the worst of both of you. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got a lot of their worst qualities. And I just, a lot of days, I feel like I'm doing pretty damn good for the tools that I was given. Um, Happy moments. I had a lot of really great teachers. I had a lot of really great family who made sure that, you know, my Catholic school tuition was always paid. So I always was in the same Catholic school. I didn't have to move around from school to school.
Yeah.
My mom couldn't afford our tuition, but I always had uniforms. You know, I was always taken care of it in that way. But then much later, there was my mom got married to my stepfather, who was a career criminal. And then he ran our house like a correctional facility because he was in and out of correctional facilities his entire life. So it was like very, again, do as I say, not as I do. Like I'm in charge and like you don't question anything. He was also very abusive. He beat my mom a lot. And it was hard for her to get out of those situations because they were always providers and we were told like, well, they're providing. I don't know what to tell you. They're providing for 3 kids. Like I have to just, and that was also something I never wanted to do. So I guess I just saw like a lot of things around me growing up. And I always just knew like, this is not what I want to do. This is the opposite of what I want. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, no matter what I tried to do, it still found me, whether it was through food. I was 200 pounds and I've had gastric bypass surgery because food is such a thing for me. And it still is. Like they don't do surgery on your brain, right? They just did it on my stomach. And like they make you go through psychological counseling and stuff before to make sure that you understand that and that they think that you can probably handle that. Shopping. Oh my God, is shopping a really big one for me? Dopamine hits. I love shopping, but I do end up like returning a lot of stuff. So because it's like temporary happiness and then it's over and I'm like, I didn't really want this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no matter what, it always found me. And then it found me with addiction. And I had to pull myself out of it. Yeah. And there were lots of relapses. I mean, I went to AA, I went to NA, and I chronically relapsed for years. I just like could not get it. And then I went to work. I fell asleep at my desk, and my union kind of said to me, "If you want to save your job, like you should go to rehab." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I need money to buy drugs, so I'm going to go to rehab so I can keep my job." And I thought I was going to hide my addiction. And when I was there, something changed. They all, you know, in the program, they say like the miracle happened, and decided to give it a shot. I wanted to do it for my husband. I wanted to do it for my sister. I wanted to do it for codependent reasons, not really
Mm-hmm.
for me. So it started out for them, and then along the way, it did change to wanting to better my life. But yeah, I came out of treatment. I had a really great support in my husband. And my mom is also in recovery now too. I think it was during COVID. I went on TikTok and I found like a lot of different online recovery communities. And I saw that there were all these different people that utilized harm reduction or utilized medical marijuana, but they still had meetings and they still could call themselves in recovery and they weren't knocked for that. And that was not something that I was familiar with because the program does not allow that. NA or NA do not allow that. And so I started making recovery content. And I got a lot of followers and I really wanted to do something with it, but I didn't really know what. So I decided that I would become a recovery mentor because I was already talking with so many people on the internet about how they could get into recovery and how they could stay recovered. And in that time, I went to Taylor Swift concert and I just had such an experience there. I was outside, I couldn't get in, I had no tickets. And it was just like the best experience. Everybody was so happy. Everybody was so happy for everybody else to be there. It didn't matter if you were a boy or a girl or what you were wearing. It was just everybody was happy to be living a super authentic life, and everybody was safe. Like I felt physically safe, bodily safe, spiritually safe. And I felt like, wouldn't it be amazing to have this in a recovery community, like where everybody could just show up as they are, recovering how they are, or wherever they are in their journey, whether they're relapsing, whether they're not completely abstinent. Like I wanted that vibe in a recovery community. And
Yeah.
I started hosting sober Swifty meetings. And then I thought SwiftSteps, oh my God, that's like a play on the program. And it just kind of snowballed into what we have now.
Yeah. And there's a lot to unpack there, and I'll do my best to unpack everything because I want to say something. The name SwiftSteps, phenomenal. Yes, you have Taylor Swift as a heavy influence, but swift and swiftly can also mean just you're making fast movements and you're working at and you're moving towards something. So I just
Yeah.
want to say I love the play on words. Phenomenal.
Thank you. And our only step is forward motion too. We don't have
Yes.
any steps. So
Yeah. I'll bring it back to your childhood in the sense of it's really challenging when you see your parents do unethical practices and they're supposed to be teaching you the guideline to life. It's very challenging because you find yourself in this weird infrastructure within yourself of, do I challenge them? Do I question them? Do I argue with them? Do I fight with them? And you don't want to fight with them, but you also know what's right and what's wrong, and they're supposed to be teaching you, and now you're teaching them. And that's probably where that anger and backlash comes from with your parents because they know they're being called out by an inferior
mhm.
in their own creation. So it's super challenging. The reason why I bring up for individuals like yourself about the rough parts of your childhood and the bright spots is because I'm glad to hear that there are some bright spots, that you were able to have some structure with your schooling. And that's more of a way that I like to challenge individuals to say, well, tell me the bright spots, because there are some. There's no light without dark in this world, right? And you talked about how you were 200 pounds and you were addicted to food and you were addicted to shopping. And so I just want to say something that might be deemed as controversial. I believe everyone is addicted to something.
Oh, me too.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, like for myself. So I grew up with my dad's side was addicted to alcohol. My mom's side was addicted to drugs. So, on this ACE test that you were talking about, I feel like just being exposed to both, I probably would check a lot of those boxes as well. Now, I like to think I overcame a lot of that just because of having those bright influences and using the gym as my coping mechanism. But I would say I'm addicted to the gym. I'll be flat out upfront with that. I had a knee surgery a couple months ago, and the first thing I was thinking about was, when can I get my ass back in the gym and start doing something? When can I get myself active? When can I get myself moving? That's an addiction. When I play video games for a few days and I'm like, when's the next time I can get back on the video games? That's an addiction. And so it comes in all shapes and sizes, and it's not, this is a clear-cut way of showing you're addicted, etc. And so I bring that up just because I want to share this. Everybody's addicted to something, and just because you may not be addicted to alcohol or substances doesn't mean you're better than somebody else. You just have to reflect it, no pun intended, raise reflection. You need to reflect within yourself and say, what am I addicted to? I bring that up just to encourage individuals who are listening to this conversation that I think it's in our human nature.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. And even if you don't have like an addiction and you just are like looking for community, or if you
Yes.
feel that you're just like codependent in relationships, like there have been a few women who have joined who are like, I'm not, I'm not in recovery for anything except for codependency. Like, can I still join? And I'm like, hell yeah, girl. Like, because I'm in recovery for codependency too, and also sex and love addiction. Like, I'm in recovery for a lot of things. Like,
Yes.
so yes, anybody can join. It's and if you're not in recovery for anything, like, and you just want community too, like we do craft nights and we do a book club, and so there are a lot of different things, but just the whole community piece of it. And like you said, community was what I needed.
Yes. Yes. I just wanted to bring that up because addiction can show up in many different forms. And I just want everybody to know that. Your journey to recovery clearly was not linear. What were some of the most challenging moments within yourself, and how did you navigate them?
The hardest one was admitting that I was just like my mom, that I am my mother's daughter. Hate that shit. I still don't like it. She told me this morning, "You're the worst parts of me." I don't like that. It's true. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like her. And it drives me insane every day. And that was the hardest thing. I had to admit, okay, I'm like my mom.
Yeah.
I'm like my dad. I'm like all of the people that I judged so harshly. And because before I experienced drug addiction as a disease in my physical body, I would fight you to the death that it was a choice. I wrote college papers on why it was a choice. Like it was the hill I would die on. And then opiates really humbled me within like, I don't know, 21 days. Even before that, I was like, I really like these. So it was a problem like very quickly.
So I want to touch up on that because you just said that that's a hill that you would die on, probably because you had some anger and
Oh,
some feelings toward your folks and being like, you chose this life and you could have chosen a better life for me, right?
yeah.
That's my personal experience as well. So my personal belief is I also believe it's a choice. That's just my personal belief. So I want to hear from you. Why don't you believe it's a choice anymore?
Well, I believe that it's not a choice because drug addicts to me were the lowest of the low.
Mm-hmm.
Weak, shameful, pathetic, all the things I didn't want to be. And if it
Okay.
was a choice, why would I have chosen that? That was my whole life was raging against that.
Mm.
I don't know why I would ever then go and just decide to do that. Like just on
Yes.
a level of for 27 years I raged against this is a choice, this is a choice. You don't love me, you chose drugs over me, blah blah blah. And then I immediately was like, oh no, I want to be a drug addict too, just like you. Like that just doesn't make sense, right?
No, you're right. Yeah, that's why I asked that. Yeah, you're right. I appreciate you bringing that up because I think about it and you're right. Like I don't think most people who have their priorities straight would go ahead and choose to live on the streets and be like, "Hey, because I love alcohol so much, I'm going to choose to live on the streets over having a comfortable life." And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's why I want to ask, right? And like not saying that my personal belief will ever change, but like that's why I like to listen to you because and listen to individuals like yourself because to me, I love to feel enlightened and love to hear different perspectives because that's how I'm going to grow as an individual as well. I'm not going to grow as an individual by just saying, this is my belief and I'm going to ignore people. That's why I wanted to ask you. So I appreciate that you shared one from your own personal perspective of you
Yeah,
would see these things.
not so much from like I guess I kind of wanted to answer from like not so much like a scientific
Yes, yes.
standpoint, but just like that just doesn't make sense if you just like news. Like I am literally, you could ask anybody in my life and they would tell you that I am the last person on the face of the earth that they would ever think would be a drug addict or have a platform to say that they're a drug addict or say, hey, my name
Mm,
is Julianne and I used to do drugs. Like that is absolutely, it's like almost like a twilight zone sometimes when I think back on like who I used to be at 27 years old before it all changed.
mm-hmm.
But like on a scientific level, addiction affects the brain, and like taking the pill, yes, you take a drug, you choose to do that, right? The
Yeah.
choice to take it is a choice, but it changes your brain chemistry and it progressively forces you to crave this drug until it just becomes like an unconscious act rather than a choice. And it becomes like eating. It becomes like breathing. You have to do it to live. It's the same as that. And you feel like you're going to die if you don't. It's exhausting. It's not fun. But yeah, so I hope that kind of answers it a little bit.
Yes, it does. And I really appreciate you just opening up and opening up my mind as well. And that's why I wanted to ask. So I appreciate that very, very much so. On a personal note, I know you talked a little bit about your folks. Is that still a tumultuous experience for you? Is that still something that you have a hard time gravitating towards and fully recovering from that?
Well, that's a hard one. So my father, he overdosed and died when I was 12. So he's not around. But my mom and I, oh yes, do we fight. So when I first got out of treatment, we like became BFFs. We went to the gym every day because when I first got out of rehab, I went to one meeting a week to make everybody else feel better. And not because I loved AA or NA. I went for a year, I got my coin, and then I stopped going. And then I went to the gym. The gym was how I stayed sober, how I stayed in recovery and focused on keeping myself on the straight and narrow. Then I got my mom start going with me, and we became really close. And then I decided I wanted to leave my marriage, and everything changed. She was not happy about that. She was not happy about how I left my marriage. I ended up having an affair. I'm not proud of it, but it happened after 14 years of trying to work on intimacy in my marriage, and it was never reciprocated. And that happens when somebody's codependent and has sex and love addiction. And after 14 years, I broke. It happened. My mom has her own shit about cheating with my dad and all the other men in her life, and had resentments and was very upset with me. And it changed our relationship. The way that she handled that, the way that she didn't support me as her child, her daughter, the way that she supported my ex-husband and took his side over everything, really changed the relationship. And I live with her. And I've lived with her for the last 2 years. And I'm currently trying to purchase a home. I've been trying to purchase a home for the last year because her and I do not get along, and we fight and we make everybody else in the house uncomfortable. My stepfather and my sister, who also live here. So that one is it's a really, really hard relationship. And I've been in therapy every single week, once a week for over 2 years now. I've made that commitment to myself. And it's really hard to do that work on codependency with your mother and how much she influences your life, and making decisions around influence from your mother and her opinion on things, and what she thinks about your choices. And then opening the door and she's out there and you're right there in another fight again. So that's been really hard for the last 2 years to do that work in therapy, to try to like untangle that and detach that, but also have to confront the door when I open the door and she's standing right there. So that one's really hard. So yeah, that it is still tumultuous at times. And I will be totally honest, like right now I'm staying completely away from her because she just had too many strokes. And if we fight, her stress level is going to peak. And if I walk through the living room, she wants to ask me a question. If I answer it, and then she's got something to say, and then we're like immediately off to the races and we don't even realize it. So I just try to stay away. So that's a hard one. It really is, and that sucks because I was really happy to have my mom as my best friend. I remember saying to people like, me and my mom are best friends now. Can you imagine that? Like, they'd never think that because we just did not get along. I had so much anger towards her. So yeah, there's resentment between us right now. And I'm hoping to work on that in therapy, and hoping to do that in a home where I don't have to open the door and see her right after I come out of therapy pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, on a personal level, I hope that you two can repair what's left. And I'm not saying that it means that it will ever be 100%. I think people conflate trauma and relationships and try to make it be that it means everything is going to be copacetic and phenomenal and great and you're going to be that best friend level. And I know that that can be very challenging. I will open up as well. I feel like that's something that I have to consciously work at with my mother.
Mm.
I think in our early 20s we fought a lot about varying opinions. And it's interesting that you say, hey, I'm you, because I feel like that was me and my mom. I felt like my mom and I were rams because we're both very stubborn and we're both very opinionated. And so I just want to say, I hope that it works out for you. I'm going to pray and wish that everything can work out for the better within yourself. More so that way you get that tranquility within who you are, because I think everybody deserves that. Look at that. I got a thumbs up. I got a thumbs up because they love what I'm saying.
And I closed my eyes. I was like, oh, I can't wait.
Yes, I hope you get that, my friend. I really, really do. You mentioned the importance of human connection and how that has helped your recovery. Can you just elaborate on the role that community plays?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to treatment, I'll just talk about like immediately the community that I found was in rehab. This is going to sound so crazy. And I know every time I talk about it, it just sounds like I had the best time at rehab. I had the best time. It was like summer camp. Like literally after I got out of detox, once I got out of detox, it was like smooth sailing. Like I was fine. I had a great time. Like I met so many people. I exchanged so many phone numbers and emails and addresses. And like, I'm still friends with people from rehab, and I left rehab 9 years ago. Like there's other content creators now that I went to rehab with that have started businesses, like just being, and so that community has continued is what I'm saying, and evolved into something else. And now we support each other's businesses and stuff like that. But then meeting just my roommate in my room, there were 3 of us. And I was a little bit scared of the one lady. She looked a little crazy to me. I was like, oh my God, what if she has like an episode or something? And I remember going to ask, like, can you guys change my room? And they were like, you're scared of Susan? And I was like, a little bit. And they were like, we think you'll be fine. And then I was like, all right, what if that was my mom? Okay. Nobody needs to be scared of my mom. So I went back to the room and I had another roommate, and her name was Mariah. And she owns Live Love Scrubs now. And her and I just clicked, she's younger than me. But her and I just clicked, and we just like really became like, I call her my soul sister. Like we really, really connected when we were in treatment. We were like BFFs, and just having someone to talk to, like when you woke up in the morning in your room, when you were feeling like shit and detoxing, or going to sleep at night and talking about what you talked about in group or what might have come up, or people's reflections back to you that might have come up, and saying like, well, what do you think about this? Or I have to write a letter to my parents. My parents are coming up to parents weekend. Like, how do I tell them that I really want to do this, that I really want to be sober? Like helping her write that letter, like that gave me purpose. That made me feel good. That made me feel good that I was like helping a younger woman, like repair things with her parents so that she could go home and start like with a clean slate, a fresh slate. And I remember the day I left, we both were sobbing outside and hugging each other. And it was just like crazy. We had only known each other for 21 days, but you become so close with people like that in those kinds of environments. And you're just like, you're like me. We're the same. We're here for the same reason. We can't get this thing under control, whatever it is. And we're struggling, whether it's our parents or our families or our works convinced us to be here, or we're here because we want to be here, or the law told us to be here. We're all fucking here. So we might as well talk to each other. And like, I started to go to stupid bingo where we played bingo for candy. When I tell you, the most fun, talking about the hallucinations that we had, and maybe this is all in poor taste for people who have never been an addict or have never been through this, but talking about the stupid shit and finding humor in the things that you would sit with and have shame about and just want to kill yourself over or keep using over, because that's what shame does. It just keeps you sitting in it and you're like, I'm the biggest piece of shit on the fucking planet. Can I curse? I'm sorry. I didn't even ask. I'm the biggest piece of shit on the planet. And like, what is the point? Why would I even bother trying? Because and then once you start finding humor in it, you can be like, all right, I'm not the worst. I'm somebody who's had a problem. Like, I see, or you're hearing other people tell their stories and they're telling their stories. Like, I'm the biggest piece of shit. And you're trying to convince them they're not. And you're like, well, if they're not, why am I not? Then you start to maybe have a
Yes.
little bit compassion for yourself. Then I had some
Yes.
compassion for my mom. And that's when I was like, that's when I was really growing and finding community, because I could see other people. I could see my mom and other people. So just finding community, being able to laugh about these things and not sitting in the shame, I think that was like the biggest piece of it with finding community, is when you're talking to other people and you're listening to their stories and you're hearing them say that there's no point, and you're trying to tell them that there is, and you're trying to convince them in every possible way because you truly believe that they have a chance. And then they try to do the same for you. And you finally realize, like, okay, well, I'm telling all these other people it's possible. Like, maybe it's possible for me too, Like, you start to
Yeah.
feel like, okay, maybe this is possible for me. Or even if you're still drinking and you're coming to meetings and you're just listening and you're not
Yeah.
talking and you're hearing other people and you're getting inspired. That's what I got out of community, just hearing other people's stories and knowing I wasn't alone, knowing I wasn't the only one, and not sitting in that shame, because shame kept me sick for so long. It just kept
Yes.
me in the dark by myself. Yeah, that's what community brought me.
The best piece of advice I had ever gotten, I forget who told it to me, but they said, whenever you're going through something, talk to yourself and give yourself advice the way that you would your best friend. That
Yep.
was the best piece of advice I'd ever gotten. And you kind of alluded to it when you said that here you are telling somebody else they're not a piece of shit, but then you go, I'm the biggest piece of shit. And it's like, no, talk to yourself the way that you would talk to that person. You are not a piece of shit. You made a poor choice or you're struggling with something. That doesn't mean you're this awful person. You are a beautiful, strong, badass person and you can do it. And so I love that. And so that's the best piece of advice I had ever gotten was whenever you're going through something, talk to yourself the way that you would talk to your best friend. I love that. I love that you
Yeah,
said that.
you can't hate yourself into recovery. You can't hate yourself better. It's just not going to happen.
And it's easy to do it, right? It's easy to go, oh man, fuck me. I hate myself. Why did I do that? Oh man. But the truth is you're better than that. We're all better than that. And we all deserve to be spoken to with respect and with compassion and with love. And we all deserve that. From your experiences, you founded SwiftSteps. You talked about how you went to the concert and that's what inspired you because you felt the love and you looked at the judge-free zone and you felt like you belonged. SwiftSteps has grown significantly now from a concept to an actual online platform.
Mhm.
Talk to me about what it's like now to help others on their journey through this platform.
Oh my goodness, it's incredible. When I tell you it's changed my life, it truly has. So we're a little bit over a year now, and when we first started, it was just the meetings, right? And a Facebook group. And now we're a Facebook group. And the Facebook group is free. Facebook group is free to everybody, and Tuesday night meetings are free to anybody who wants to come. There are Speak Now meetings. Taylor had an album, Speak Now, and we have speakers come and they share their stories, and they share how Taylor Swift may or may not have influenced their story, but really they just share their story of recovery and strength and hope. And then we have a meeting, and it's really special. And then on Wednesday nights we have a Alphabet and Allies meeting. It's our LGBTQ plus IA meeting. On Thursdays, we just have like a weekly check-in meeting. Saturday mornings, we do a song breakdown. We spin a wheel with all of Taylor's songs on it, all of Taylor's versions only. And whatever song it lands on, the following week, if somebody wants to volunteer to take that song, they do, or I take it. Whoever takes it breaks that song down, kind of like a journal prompt through the lens of mental health, addiction, and recovery. And it's really interesting because you never know what's going to come up. And for me, the last year, a lot of the songs I've been processing my separation, divorce, and affair. And I'm sure they're so sick of hearing about it, but it's been me processing and having like sob fest and almost therapy sessions every single week with them. So like, not only am I helping other people, like they're helping me process all this stuff that I probably have never processed and maybe not probably wouldn't have wanted to process. But because codependency, I'm doing it for content for other people, it forces me to do it, right? And it's kind of weird to say that like my therapy is content, but whatever, everything's content these days, right?
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. And then on Sundays, we do a gratitude meeting. And then every other week, we have a book club where we do a quit lit book. And we just kind of like break down the books and answer questions like chapters, 1 to 3 this week, 4 to 5 and 6 the next week. Trying to think, have I forgotten anything? We've also added, we just launched an app. Oh my God, we launched an app, right? It's in beta testing. And we have all of our journal courses on there. Every single one of Taylor's albums, I have a journal course that mirrors that album or that era. And each song on the album, I have a recovery journal prompt that takes you through the song. And as you break it down through the lens of mental health, recovery, and addiction, just like we do in the Saturday morning song sessions. And it's all online now. So there's, I think, 15 courses, and they all have like 20 to 25 different journal prompts within them. So that's for all of her albums. And also, you know how NA and AA, they have coins for lengths of sobriety. We don't have coins, but one of our members, Jennifer, she has a business, Jen's Invisible Strings, and she started to make bracelets for people for lengths of sobriety. Man, this girl, she was like, I'm just going to donate them. It's fine. And once she started to make really, really special ones, I was like, no, you're going to sell these because you are worth that. And you deserve, to live this dream and build this business. And we have a Swiftie business directory because I want to help other people build their dreams. And a lot of people who are in recovery, they have a lot of barriers to entry, so they start their own businesses, like my girl Mariah, who started Live Love Scrubs, and my friend Jamie, who has the Stitch Mama Crochet. So this is just our basic bracelet that Jen made that says SwiftSteps on it. And everybody who comes and shares their story at a Speak Now meeting, they get a bracelet. We send them a bracelet as a thank you, just because we appreciate it. And then we have these incredible bracelets. I just want to show you a couple. So this is just like a basic 30 days. For 30 days for anybody new. If they have 30 days, we'll send them one. And we don't charge anybody anything for them. They're complimentary. But when you join and you're in the membership, each year you get to choose a membership bracelet for your anniversary. And like the workshops, just like the journal courses, we have bracelets that match every single era, every single album. So year 1 is debut. That bracelet matches that. This is my favorite one. This is the Lover album. So it says TIMT for This Is Me Trying, because that is one of Taylor's songs. And if you can see that, it's a little
there you go.
stoplight. So they all have different charms on them. This one is for, I'm sorry. There you go. This is the Starbucks cup. This is the red scarf for red. So that's year 4. So every single bracelet matches a year. And then anything past TTPD, we just make personalized bracelets for people. So they're really special. She really is so creative, and she just donated her time and her supplies, and just started to like send them all to me. And we just got them up on our website. We're starting to sell them now. And so I really want to push them for her because she's just been so generous. And it's just a way for her to be of service to other Swifties. And she really was like, I just want to donate this stuff. I don't want to charge anybody anything. I really had to convince her to start selling these other bracelets. So I just really want to get that out there for her. So, I mean, yeah, it has grown significantly, and the app is going to be launched to the public very soon. And yeah, I'm just really excited. It's been so wonderful. The people that I found, it's funny. When you get on TikTok or on socials, they tell you to niche down, right? And they always say that's the first thing. And I would always be like, how important is that? When I tell you I found my people, niching down will find you your people. They're my people, and they're so supportive and lovely and wonderful. And I just think that is why so many people are willing to come to a meeting, because they hear it's Swifties and they're like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit safer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want to be a part of it, and I'm not even a Swiftie. I love everything that you're about. I love the message that you're behind of coming through as your authentic self. I think we need that more. I think in a world where we have this false vanity and that we have to go ahead and portray something that we're not. I love how your platform, your website, your app, your group is all about coming. You're like, fuck it. I don't want the bullshit of who you want to become. I want to see who you are, and we'll get you to who you want to become.
Yes, like please just come as you are now. Like I don't want to hear like I don't know your favorite color. Like tell me like why your mom had to sign your rights over when you were 10 because she couldn't get clean. Like tell me that stuff. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about you where you are now, and like we're going to love you even though you don't love yourself right now. We're going to love you until you can love yourself and get you to where you want to be. And I love that you said that, because that is exactly it. You're right. Like I don't want the bullshit. Just come as you are now, and let's help you get to where you want to be. But also, let's help you feel okay right now, and know that you're okay right now as you are too.
For me personally, right? Like, I don't force this down people's throat. This is just where my head's at. I do believe in God. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. And so one of the biggest things that I hate is when people go ahead and they talk about how their views or their experiences with people who are Christians is that they look down on people. And I hate that, because I go, Jesus met people where they were at. He hung out with people who were sinners and struggling. And so to me, I've always been that person that wants to meet people where they're at. I'm all for like coming and showing your true authentic self, because I believe that opens up doors more than, like you said, the bullshit of tell me your favorite color. Tell me, I'm going to ask you burning questions, and they might be those bullshit questions, but I think we went through a lot of meat on the bone here. What's the most unexpected thing that you learned about Julianne during your recovery?
Oh my God. The most unexpected thing is that I think it's twofold. The most unexpected thing in recovery for me is that I am so fucking compassionate to people now. Whereas before, I was like, yo, people can take care of themselves. They have fucking free will and choice. They can pull themselves up by their bootstraps just like I did. And I help animals because animals don't have a choice. And that was my cause, right? Now my cause is animals and people, specifically people in recovery. I've become very compassionate to things that just people would have never expected. And so that might be the most expected thing for people on the outside. Maybe the most unexpected thing for me on the inside is that I ask people this question because there are people who can say that they're grateful and they're thankful and their addiction is the best thing that ever happened to them. And I try to get there, and that's really hard for me to get there. I can't really get there because I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know. Like, I'm a better person on the other side of it, but like so much fucking damage had happened that didn't have to happen. I just don't know. I don't know if I can get there. But the most unexpected thing is that people like me better now as a human being, having gone through my addiction, learning what I've learned and becoming who I am now. They like the 2.0 version better of me than the version before that didn't have all the flaws and did all the damage and went through everything she went through. They still like me as a human being better. Even all the things I did to hurt them, they still like me better as a human being on the other side. So that says a lot to me.
Yeah. It does.
That I've changed so much and I've grown so much that it makes me actually really sad about the person that I used to be and the person that like maybe people had to put up with. Like I think about my high school boyfriend. What up, Eric? I think about his poor parents. I challenged the fuck out of them. Like they're never going to hear this, but like, man, I think back and I'm like, I hope they know I was just a really fucking traumatized kid. And I just like had a lot of anger. Like, I think they knew, but like, I hope they know. And I hope that they know that I've worked that shit out and I'm not that fucking kid anymore. But like, I've had therapy sessions around that. So yeah, that's the most unexpected thing, that just like genuinely as a human being, the person that was the drug addict and did all the dirt and did all the damage, they still like me better as a human being on the other side of it than the person I was before. The person that did not do anything wrong, still showed up for everybody, was the mom, raised the brother and sister. Like I did everything for everybody. I was the matriarch. I was all the things and everybody loved me, but I'm still better after the fact. And also just like, man, I must have really sucked. Yeah. Too. And also, you guys really loved me, and thank you for that.
Yeah. We only know what we know when we know it, and you were trying to figure out life, and it's not like that you knew all the answers, right? And so, give yourself a little bit of grace, and I just want to say this from the bottom of my heart. I feel the compassion. I feel the care from you. I feel all of that and how much you genuinely love the community and just people that you may not have met yet, and at some point down the line you will meet, right? Like, there's people that may listen to this and may join. There's people that will come into your life 10 years down the road that you didn't even fucking know existed, and then they become such an important, significant impact role to your life. And so I feel that. And I've only been blessed to have this hour conversation with you. So I want to say that I feel it, and I'm sure anybody who joins your community and anybody who will join the community and anybody who will come into your life down the road, they'll also feel that as well. So I am so thankful that I was able to have this conversation with you. Let's go ahead and go into our burning questions and try to have some fun now. I know that we talked about some heavy stuff. So for anybody who listened to this podcast episode, thank you for tuning in and listening to the heavy stuff. We're going to have some fun now. So if you could send one message in 10 years to yourself, what would that be?
Send myself future
10
me?
years. Yes, future you. Future you opens up a little video archive of this podcast episode and goes, what the fuck? I forgot I did. Who the fuck is Nathanael Reyes? I forgot about him. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully
people always say, what would you say to your past self? They never ask what you would say to your future self. What's you with these questions?
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. Future me? Man, I don't know.
Do you want to ponder that one and I'll pivot to a different one?
Yeah, let me come back on that. I'm so sorry.
No, please don't. If animals could talk, which one would be the biggest gossip?
Oh my gosh. Animals could talk would be the biggest gossip. Probably, I'm thinking of those pelicans in Finding Nemo. Mine. Yeah.
Ooh. See, I was having a hard time because when I wrote that question, I was thinking about animals that like congregate together. and which ones would be go ahead and like kind of go back and forth. And I just couldn't think of one. I think maybe like ants. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like ants, all of them eating food, like they see one chip drop. You know how like there's a bunch that go ahead and all those baby sugar ants go ahead and
Yeah.
jump on top of that? They'd be like, oh, did you hear what Dolores did today? I don't know about that. And they would all go back and forth.
Actually, that's a good one. I think that's better than pelicans.
You like that one? Okay.
Yeah, good.
Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or maple syrup for sweat?
Oh my God.
Slimy spaghetti hair or sticky sweat?
Ugh.
They're both absolutely disgusting.
I guess I'm gonna go with sweat. Oh, because I
Yeah.
will, yeah, because I already hate sweat.
Yes. Okay.
And I'll just stay in the house and stay in the air conditioning.
Okay. I'm not going to say something that somebody's going to think is gross. We've all done this, and if anybody comes back and says, I've never done that, you're lying. You're full of shit. We've all tasted our sweat, and it's like salty,
Yeah.
right? And, okay, right. Okay, you're with me because I feel like somebody could be like, yeah, that's gross. No, we've all done that.
Dogs like to lick the sweat off of us because it is salty.
Right. So my thought process was, wait, if it's salty, it might be sweet.
Yeah. And
yes.
it won't smell bad, right? It'll smell good.
Right. Yes. Okay.
I like that.
Thank you. Do you have a I swear this happened story that sounds 100% made up?
Oh God. Yeah, a lot probably. My mom ran my stepfather over with the minivan. I was only because this is like not fully over, but like they were arguing one morning, and I don't even know about what, but she was gonna drive me to work, and it was one of those minivans that had like a sliding door.
Oh
And
yeah.
I wasn't even
those.
in it yet. Like I got in the van and I went to close the door, and she took off before I even shut the door. So that she could go down the street and hit him with the van. And she did. She hit him with the van, and then took me to work. And then, we had a barbecue later that night.
See, that does sound fake. Like that sounds like I'd be like, wait a minute. That feels like it's like a TV episode or something like that.
Shameless, right? Like my life was like shameless. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you'd be really compelling. I love listening. I could listen to you share these stories or an audio book or maybe another podcast episode because I just feel like you're it's funny, but in a way it's kind of sad because you're so numb to what you're saying, and I can relate in a way because all right, I lied. Sorry, I said it was going to be the fun burning questions, and now I'm going back into something serious. So I grew up super poor, and I always say I was lucky if I had a bag of carrots in the fridge, and I was lucky if the fridge was even on because we lost power all the time. Come to find out, it was because my folks hardly ever paid the electrical bill, and that's why we were shut off. And when I grew up, they didn't have the laws of during the winter the heat had to stay on type of deal. And I do remember a lot of times when we would have to boil water just to have hot water. And because it was too hot, then we had to put the cold water in it, and we're using cups, and that's how we showered. And that's, and I just remember stories like the police coming to my house saying like, hey, these kids have to leave because it was too cold to stay in the house. And so the police came and were making sure that we were safe, and they wanted to have us be in someplace warm. So they basically had us all call friends that we can stay at. And so my junior year of high school, I didn't live at home because I was sleeping from friend to friend to friend. It was like a rotation of 3 weeks I was at this friend's house, these 3 weeks I was at this friend's, and so on and so on. And so I have all these stories, and I share all that to say that, like, in some ways, I laugh at it, right? I share all these, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, I remember this. And it's more of a deflection, right? Because you want to laugh at it so that way you don't have to feel the pain. But in some ways, I feel for you because as someone who's gone through some trauma personally myself, I know that sometimes you laugh at it, but there is still some undertone of pain.
Oh
And
yeah.
in some ways, you're numb to it because you don't want to give it power of that it's bothering you. When I see you talking about it, in some ways it's funny, it's comical, but in
Mhm.
other ways it can be a little disheartening because like, wow, she has gone through so much trauma. Like I feel it in my heart right now. My heart feels a little heavy because it's like, wow, she's gone through so much trauma that to her it's like it's just another story. And I can relate to that because like I said, in some ways I'm like, shit, there are so many fucking stories that I would say to someone and they'd be like, that's not true. That didn't happen. I can't believe a kid went through that.
Yep.
And it trains you. Like something, I'll share this, something I've gone through, and it's a hard time for me. I have a hard time ever restricting my hands in public. And what I mean by that is I have a hard time holding somebody's hand if I'm walking in a mall. I have a hard time, holding two things because I've seen so many times when I was growing up, there was a big stabbing there was a big stabbing crisis where people would just run up and stab you. And so I'm so wired and programmed now that I get worried if I'm in a public place, and that would happen in public places. So even though people are like, "Come on, that's not going to happen," it's like I respect what you're saying, but you didn't grow up the way that I did. You didn't see this stuff. I saw this stuff. So in some ways, I'm almost programmed to like not want to be restricted or not want to be like, hugged in public because I get worried that if something were to happen to me, I'm going to go ahead and have to like deflect and things like that. And I
Yeah.
make a joke of it. Like on a podcast about a year ago. I made a joke saying like I never hold a girl's hand in public because I'm worried about if something were to happen, and we're laughing about it for 5 minutes. But in some ways, I really was going through that before I had to laugh about it. Like I really was scared for my life, being like, dude, somebody can come at me with a switchblade, it go in my rib, and that's it.
Yeah, you develop like this hypervigilance, you're always
Yes.
on guard, always aware. Your spidey senses are always tingling, trying to see what's going on around you to keep yourself safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. So I can understand that. All right. I'm going to add a picture to the slide here.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh,
Who is the weakest link in the group? Is it Fred, Velma, Scooby, Shaggy, or Daphne?
I kind of think it's Fred or Daphne. I think it's Fred because he's a man, and I'm just going to say a woman's probably more valuable and cuter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Daphne's eye candy. She's beautiful. We got to look at her. Yeah. Yeah. Fred, I saw. I had a podcast with somebody earlier, and he goes, "Anybody can drive the van. Anybody has mask removing ability. Like that's all he really does."
Yeah.
And he steals a lot of Velma's, like Velma's plan, and then he'll recite it as if it's his own.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a man for you.
Hey, we're not all like that.
Not
Just
all
so.
men, not all men.
No, but you know what? I will say this: a lot of us we're just complete assholes, and we behind every great man is a great woman, and
True
that's what I
story.
firmly believe. Yes, yes. All right, I got a chat pack question for you.
Okay.
Okay. Nope, I don't like that one. Too many words. Sorry, I'm not a reader. So that's
Okay.
why you need to make an audiobook. All right, I need you to
I
make an
would love
audiobook.
to. If I could find like a ghostwriter to help me write it or something, I would love that.
Yes. What's the most beautiful drive you've ever taken where you saw the landscape and you just felt so immersed in where you were?
Cape Cod.
Hey, I'm a mask guy.
Yeah,
So look at that.
Cape Cod on my honeymoon. It was in November and it was beautiful. I love New England. I love Massachusetts. I love Boston. Like that we went there so that we could take a day trip to Boston and Cape Cod and stuff. But I mean, and
Yep.
to Martha's Vineyard and stuff like that. But driving through Cape Cod, that's probably where I felt that feeling you're describing.
Nice. Yeah, there are some, right, where you're just like, wow, I didn't even know this was real. Actually, my dog, I had to drive to Cape Cod to rescue him. So, yeah.
I love
Yep.
that.
Yes. Yes. All right, I'm gonna come back to, if you could send one message to yourself 10 years from now, what would it be?
It's going to be the same message that I came up with. So there was this question that I thought about for a very long time, and it was, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Right. And I thought about this for a super long time, like years.
Yeah.
Because it's like one thing changes everything. What do you change? This is an overthinker, guys. And I came to the conclusion about 2.5 years ago when I was leaving my marriage. It was, girl, go to therapy and don't ever stop. Go to therapy and don't ever stop, because the most therapized version of you, I won't say the most, but like the most therapized version of you, the mental health medicated version of you, the version of you where you're, holding yourself accountable weekly with another human being, is going to be the best version of you to be able to deal with anything in life. And so I think that that would be the same answer, because no matter how many times I recommit to myself that I'm going to continue going to therapy, I will continue to have the conversation with myself of, well, maybe I can go to every other week, or maybe I can go to every 3 weeks, once a month even. I don't have to go to every week. It's so expensive. I'm doing so good right now. I don't really need it. And then I did go to every other week, and then something happened and I had to call her and say, we got to go back to week because I need you. We can't skip a week. So it's just like back to week, and don't fucking stop. Just keep going to therapy.
Julianne, thank you so much for taking the time, sitting and chatting with me. We talked for over an hour, and I felt like it was 20 minutes.
I know.
Please plug yourself in. Where can people find you, follow you, sign up for SwiftSteps, all that stuff? Plug everything in. Plug the shit out of yourself. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Okay, so if you go to the website, it's www.swiftsteps.org. And all of the information there is to join the Facebook group, to join the membership, to find Jen's Invisible Strings, to find all of our merch. We have this really great Taylor candle right now that I made recently. We are on all socials at SwiftSteps13.
I'm going to manifest something real quick before we wrap up.
Okay.
I'm manifesting right now that at some point in your life, Taylor Swift will see all the hard work that you're putting into this, using her as a baseline guideline to help a community of individuals to talk their feelings out, overcome what they're going through, experience a true loving community. I'm manifesting that at one point, Taylor Swift will see this, collaborate with you, shout you out, talk about you in ways that will echo all across the globe. I believe it. I feel it. It's going to happen. I want it to.
I do too. Thank you. I hope so. Oh my God, that is the dream. The ultimate dream would be to collab with Taylor.
Yes. And I feel it, because I believe anytime you're doing something good, full-hearted, 100%, you're not snaking anybody, you're not half-assing shit, I feel like good things will come. The universe and God are too loving and giving, and they will give what you give. And you, my friend, you give a lot of yourself. You're so vulnerable. You're so open. I really, really appreciate that you took the time to talk to me and open this up. And I know you do it all the time on your community, but you came on my show and you were so vulnerable and so open, and it means a lot. You will always hold a place in my heart. You are a friend of the show forever. I've just sworn you in. That's your initiation.
Thank you. This was amazing. I'm just so touched and honored, and you really gassed me up. Thank you so much for that. Little ego boost. Thank you. Seriously, this was wonderful. You are a fantastic interviewer. This is really great.
Thank you so much. That is going to do it for this episode of the Reyes Reflection podcast. Big thanks to our sponsors, ARAVE Cards, Jocko Fuel, Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare, and SMACKIN Sunflower Seeds for supporting today's episode. And to all our listeners, remember, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. Please check out SwiftSteps. Please, I love you all.